Hi and welcome to The Practice Gap, the podcast for closing the gap between the practice you have and the one that you want. I'm Elizabeth, a chiropractor, a business owner, coach and entrepreneur on a mission to help you move from frustration and overwhelm to clarity, focus and joy in practice. Hi, Hege Herstad, and welcome to the studio. I am so excited for you to be here. You're a chiropractor who lives in Oslo. Could you start by telling the audience a little bit about yourself?
Yes, of course. But first of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to get here and speak with you about chiropractic that we really hold so high, both of us. Yes, I'm Hege Herstad. I'm a chiropractor. I'm a 1999 Palmer West graduate in California, and I've been in practice now for almost 25 years. I still love being in practice. I have my own practice for lots of years. I run a practice just outside of Oslo where I have 3 amazing colleagues, another chiropractor, an orthopedic surgeon, and a yoga teacher.
Cool, very cool.
Yes. Multidisciplinary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
For what made you choose to have an orthopedic surgeon in your clinic?
That's a fun story, actually. We were looking to work together with this clinic just 10 minutes away from us who made insoles. So we had this meeting with this orthopedic surgeon. We were talking about how we can work together. And we got into talking about biomechanics, the science of movement. And we connected so well with how we think and how we are working with to optimize function to get people to move better. And he was so happy to see that we were so alike in how we were thinking. So he gave me a call a week later and said, Hege, can I work with you? And isn't that great?
It's very cool.
And he's an orthopedic surgeon, so he's basically, or most of his time, he's a hip surgeon at the Ringerike sykehus, and that's
a small town outside Oslo.
Yes, so he's the chief of the hip department there. So this is just a side thing for him, but he's a great asset and a really knowledgeable. Great person to have there.
That brings us straight into one of your many passions in chiropractic that I know about. You have a certain gift of talking to, I would say, at least medical professionals. I'm sure you have a gift to talk to other people also, but you have a gift of connecting with other professions and talking about chiropractic in a way that they understands what you are passionate about. Could you please talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I think I have a passion, first of all, to be as good as a chiropractor as I can be for my patient, and the other is really to bridging the gap between chiropractic and the mainstream medical profession out there. And way back when I was figuring out what to do in my life, I was on my way to be a medical doctor. And in my pre-med, getting points to get into med school, my whole family have been using chiropractic care for forever. And but I haven't at that time I never went.
How old were you then?
I was my early 20s, I think. 19 maybe, around there. Anyway, I was joining family members to go to a chiropractor. And I was amazed because I've always been into sports and preventative medicine. I was at that time studying physics, and I love you know, and then they were kind of implementing physics into biology, really working preventative. Mm-hmm. And I love how, and the results they were getting, and how they were thinking. They were thinking holistically, you know, having headaches, working on your shoulders and your mid-back and your breathing, and they were thinking holistically, and also really using the laws of physics in biology, and it makes so much sense to me, and I was amazed by the results I got. Mm. So anyway, so that time I got into med school and I started there, but I was so intrigued by chiropractic, so I got out really early, and I decided, you know, chiropractic is the way I want to go. You know, there's really two divisions of the healthcare, and it should be combined, because it should be all integrated, and we need to speak more naturally with each other. You know, and that's, I think, that episode and that switch of interest, or my choice of profession, that also led me to having that will, or my passion about really working on bridging the gap between chiropractic and ordinary traditional medicine. Mm. I think that's what brought me here.
Very cool, very cool. What made you choose to go to Palmer West way back when, 25 plus years ago?
First of all, I needed to go to school that was accepted.
What do you mean by accepted?
Accepted by the
laws,
by the Norwegian Chiropractic Association. Okay, they had a certain amount of school that were accredited to get loans, and they were good schools. Mm. Also, at that time, my father was an industrial attaché in San Francisco at the consulate there, so I had family there in San Francisco, so I knew that area. But I was sure I wanted to be in the States, and I was visiting also the school down in LA and in Portland. You know, Palmer West was, I liked it, and I liked the area there, and there I was. Mm. Yes.
So, came back to Norway. When did your journey to bridge the gap between mainstream medicine and chiropractic actively begin?
That was when I was an intern. I was an intern. I was really lucky to end up with this amazing chiropractor, Per Strømsheim, up in Gjøvik.
Which is also a small town.
Which is also a small town. Really small town.
Really small town.
Yes. A small town where you went shopping, you met a lot of patients every time you were out shopping. Small town. But anyway, he was an amazing mentor, and he had a good relationship with medical doctors, general practitioners, and also the hospitals. So from day one, he said, okay, Hege, if you have this problem, just call this and this surgeon and ask for advice, or you know. So that was from day one. I was on the phone with the whole medical community.
How did that feel, coming from the States and picking up the phone and say, do you remember your first call?
At that time, my medical language was all in English, so that was my biggest fear. What's all this in Norwegian? But then at that time everything was so new, so this was new, and dealing with really acute patient, everything was new, so this was just another thing, you know. Yeah. It was not anything different than having your first really bad low back with the referred pain or whatever, you know. Yeah.
So you started already from day one. Could you just tell me a little bit about what kind of patient you would call about?
For example, if you have a low back with motoric deficits, for example, where you can discuss the history, and you're wondering, okay, it's not a drop foot, but it's kind of getting there. What do you think? Do you want to check it out? and also had a few falls with coccygus pain that I was also discussing. And also with, for example, medical doctors, general practitioners, it's a great idea to just discuss, I'm wondering if it needs some pain medications, or should we change it, or what do you think? Or also at that time we could make sick leaves that we have the opportunity to do now. So that having the dialogue with the general practitioner then about sick leave
and the patient,
and also that just the managing of the patient. We, like the general practitioner, and we have the patient in common, So we need to have a common goal, and also a common
goal for the patient.
Practice plan, for the patient. We're in it together, and also for the patient knowing that these two medical professionals, they're both like collaborating to get me well. I mean, just knowing that
makes powerful.
Makes the patient better.
Yeah, cool. So you come to the little town of Gjøvik, and then with this chiropractor's already been doing a lot of this work kind of before you. So they kind of knew about chiropractic, I would guess, because of him. So then what happens when you then move? Where did you move after the first internship?
I moved to Oslo, where I grew up. So there I went to a multidisciplinary practice. I worked with a couple of other chiropractors, lots of physios, and they were all, there's so many great healthcare practitioners out there. So that was a great collaboration within that clinic. We had
was it a different, like when you came to Oslo? Was it a different than calling a general practitioner about the patient? Was the experience the same, or was it different coming from the little town to big Oslo?
It was different because a lot of general practitioners then didn't know about chiropractic, and some of them were open, some of them were not so open. I'm eager to get the non-cooperative general practitioners to open up, right?
Yeah, so that's your goal.
I'm stubborn. I'm stubborn, but and there comes the humbleness in, because also the practitioners out there that I know we're all kind of products of our environment, right? The medical professional, they're from medical schools, and they talk to their colleagues who are all medical doctors, and their friends and family that know about medical doctors and the traditional medicine. And we, on the other hand, we're from chiropractic school, and we have our chiropractic college friends and our colleagues back home, and we're all preaching to our own safe choir.
Yes. That's so beautiful saying, our own safe choir.
So we're all on our different choirs, and we all agree on everything, what's best or not good, and what works and what. So we need to kind of step out, and we need to be vulnerable. That's kind of uncomfortable, but that's where the change is, and that's where the kind of magic happens. To step out and talk to that medical doctor that's really not in your field at all.
Yeah.
It probably has no experience with what you're doing, but but all of them are good in what they're doing. So we just need to communicate.
So if I'm a young chiropractor, just got out of school a year ago, or 2 years, and I've never called a medical doctor, and I'm super scared about it. How should I start? How should I muscle up the courage to start building better relationships, or just building relationships?
First of all, now we have Norsk Helsenett. We're really lucky here.
Okay, so we have to. What's for the people who are not Norwegian?
In Norway, we have electronically. We are really electronic communication. We have come far.
Yeah.
So we have the opportunity to communicate with general practitioners through electronic communication.
Yeah, it's kind of like a platform that is.
So we can send messages and we can send patient reports. First of all, use that platform.
And for before we got the platform, what would you advise? And to those who doesn't have that platform,
then you need to call. Okay, you always have to start, I think, with a patient.
Yeah, let's have a problem here. You have a patient who's suffering from terrible headaches, and you're kind of scared that there's something really weird going on, and you don't really know what to do with that patient.
Okay, so then you first ask the patient, is it okay that I call your general practitioner? The patient says, oh, thank you. Are you taking time to really do that? Of course, that's my job. We all want to get you better. Is that okay? The patient always says, yes, please. So we call up the front desk of your medical doctor and you say, here, I'm doctor of chiropractic, whatever your name is. And I have this patient that your doctor has on their list. But I have this, I really want to discuss the headaches and how we can best manage this patient. So can you please get this doctor to call me back? Or is it in time that I can call him or her so we can discuss this? Often that's, of course, yes, thank you for calling. I will ask him or her to call you back. And then when you get that phone, be humble. Explain in medical terms what you've found, what you're thinking, and then ask, so what do you think? What should we together do as a team to make this person better? Should we change medications? Or should I do something? I'm thinking this and that. I want to do an adjustment and have this plan. And maybe we should do like a sick leave for 50% or whatever for the next couple of weeks. And then we'll see, what do you think? Establish a dialogue and show that you know what you're doing, but you really want to be on a team and you don't know. None of us have the full answer, right? We're part of the puzzle. Be honest and be correct in how you're doing your examination and how you report it, and be curious and be humble. But don't sell yourself and your soul, because you need to show the world what you really know and what you understand, and that you really...
What do you mean by sell your soul?
It's important to communicate what you understand, that you're a product of your environment, and you want to show the rest of the medical world what the chiropractic environment really is. What are we doing? We're optimizing function to get people to move better. We are...
So is it that, just to stop you there, because that's a nice sentence, we're optimizing function to get people to move better.
Yes.
Is that like, so if I'm a medical doctor that have really no experience with chiropractic, how would you explain chiropractic super easy to me? Or like, we are the same, okay, so let's keep going with the headache patient. So you're calling me about this headache patient we have in common, and I'm asking you, because you asked me now to make a plan with this, then maybe I would ask, well, I understand you're a chiropractor and it's probably stiff in his neck. What are your theories why your treatment could help potentially this headache person?
Yes. Now I found this, I've examined this patient, and neurologically she is fine. There is no sign of any disc herniation or any neurological, like facial nerves, or it's neurologically it's clean as far as I can see now. But getting her movement in her mid-back and shoulders, and also getting her to breathe better, and to get the movement in her neck, both in her vertebra but also her musculature, to get her work more freely, it can release the tension that often increase the headaches. or it's I speak with the motion and.
Well, if would say it does make sense, but
it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes
so
sense.
It's first it's important to rule out the red flags.
So when you have open conversation, start with ruling out the red flags, so that the person also know that you know what you're doing.
That we do.
At least we check for it.
We are really eager to rule that out. Of course, that's one of the main goals in doing a good examination. Differential diagnosis. So we need to show them that we know that, and we understand it, and we don't just ramble away.
So what is a common response when you do that? Oh, well, does the doctor say like, well, that kind of makes sense, or what is a usual response for someone you haven't had any contact with before? The first when you hear in the voice that like they've never talked to a chiropractor before.
Thank you for contacting me.
So to the younger the chiropractors out there, don't be so scared to make that first contact, because they most likely will be happy.
Yes, because they are happy that you include them in the plan, and that you also ask them, what do you think? So be concise and show what your plan is, but also ask, what do you think? Mm-hmm. So be humble. Yes.
So humble and curious, and going back to the last podcast with Bård Fossli-Jensen, that's also how we should approach the patient. So there is some communication there that is definitely in common.
Bård Fossli-Jensen.
So let's talk about that, because I know that you've met him, and because you have a tendency, I know, to say yes to different opportunities, and we will talk more about that. You met a wonderful guy, and I think he might help you open some doors.
Yes.
Could you talk a little bit about that?
I was with you on this great training with him.
The first training with
10 years ago.
Yes.
And we both agree that that's the best seminar I've ever taken, and that changed how I managed my patients. Amazing. Anyway, a year or so later, he messaged me and I said, hey, here's a great opportunity. I have a training and I have one spot left, and there are medical doctors, leaders from all the big hospitals in Norway. And the theme is how to give like a bad message, how to
deliver bad news.
Bad news.
Yes.
Bad news. 2 days with leaders of the biggest hospitals in Norway and me, the chiropractor.
So how many were you? Max 8? I think that was the maximum.
I think we were 8 to 10 people. We had 2 days and giving bad news. The hospitals really need to give bad news. They're every day, and they're being a leader or of a big hospitals. Happens every day. Of course it does. Happy for us, we don't have that many bags. So of course, great training. Of course, we were there learning how to communicate better. Really, that's what it's all about. Sitting there in front of this group, really feeling that this is not a good way to do this. And we need to do it differently. And having giving the training. But of course, with this,
what happened after this? You had this experience with complete strangers in a way, who are in different professions. At least we had it with other colleagues, the chiropractors. So you were there. What happened after that?
After that, among all the different groups, it was one person from Nevrogruppen. That's a group of neurologists and neurosurgeons.
Okay, so we're talking about the medical neurosurgeons. Yes.
There, so I got a contact into that group, and I was starting then to first get one of them to have a speech for us, and then I got in also with this group to do observations at the National Hospital, Rikshospitalet, and I got to know a lot of the neurosurgeons there.
So did you just ask them to, hey, can I come and observe, or did you what? Yes. So hi, I'm a chiropractor. Could I please come and observe you?
Yes.
And then what did they usually say?
Of course.
Come on in.
We're so happy that you're interested and curious and humble.
Yeah.
Yes. So I got in there. And another one, this was also another, I always speak about chiropractic, and it was at a restaurant in Oslo, Teatercaféen. I was there with my husband and at a concert.
Theater Cafe.
The Theater Cafe.
Super famous old restaurant in Norway, Oslo.
Yeah, it's been there forever. Anyway, we were there on a concert, and we were sitting at a table with another couple. The man of the couple was a neurosurgeon at the National Hospital, Rikshospitalet. He was doing the surgeries for the trigeminal neuralgias patients coming from all over this country. And he was so frustrated because there were so many patients that were referred to him. And they've been waiting for months and months, and they didn't have trigeminal neuralgia. But what should he do with them? You know, he couldn't. He had to just send them back to their GP, and he's like, what's going to happen to them? The GP doesn't know where to send them. He wanted to build this. He felt that he needed to do something about this group to increase the knowledge and also get.
So he's frustrated because he's getting people for surgery that shouldn't have surgery.
Yes,
basically, and
yes.
Then he doesn't have any clue what to do.
What to do and where to send them.
Mm-hmm.
So this incident at this restaurant, and the other incident with a neuro group that I met at the seminar with the board, they kind of collided, because when I was on rounds with this neurosurgeon, I met this other neurosurgeon from the cafe, and that was like a year later, and he was like, oh, you know, are you here? Come on over here. I've made this group of like a multidisciplinary group. Can you please come and join us?
Oh, that's very cool.
And so he'd put together great. I mean, at Rikshospitalet, and there are so many great healthcare providers, but again, we're all products of our environment. Great dentists were in this group now.
So how many people are on this group?
Like 10.
So
10-ish.
It's dentists,
chiropractor, and they're neurologists and neurosurgeons. And also like specialists in the orofacial, like in oral and maxillofacial surgeon, or in the surgery. So it's so then we were invited to this group, and we're discussing cases, and everybody have been contributing with both case studies, and we as chiropractors.
When you say we,
well, I also had have a colleague, Mats Klemsdal, with me. So we're with the chiropractic team there. So we have had speeches about what chiropractic is. Also have presented cases in chiropractic with what we as chiropractors have done with cases that we work together with the medical doctor there and the dentists. And also we invite people in to have talks about other things in this group.
So how many years have you been meeting?
5 years.
5 years.
Yes.
And how often?
No, it used to be twice a year, and now it's been like a year since last time. This one medical surgeon that started this is now he has retired.
Oh,
so another of these younger surgeons has been taking over, but he's he's the leader of this neurosurgical department at Rikshospitalet. So he has a lot of things to do, but yes.
That's a very, very cool story. Could you just tell us a little bit how this group has changed how you practice, if it has? I assume it has changed something, so what has it changed?
It has absolutely changed. I think I'm thinking broader, and I'm even more. I think I'm more eager to speak with whoever other. Okay, no.
You're even more excited to speak to other people about chiropractic. Was that it?
Of course, I'm always eager to speak about chiropractic. You know that. But But the multidisciplinary focus,
Yeah.
I'm even more into that. And I see also that we need more knowledge about other fields like psychology, psychology, how much that has to do, or it's implementing our practice, So I'm probably more humble.
Yeah.
It's like I'm kind of a smaller piece in the big puzzle. But I also see that we are important pieces in the puzzle as chiropractors, and not as something else, to keep that, to be real chiropractors. Like, oh, what's a real chiropractor? But we want to focus on motion and function, and
Good. I'm gonna wrap up a little bit because I'm gonna have you back for another episode. So, but to wrap up this a little bit, if you really want to, I would actually say, if you want to make a difference, really big difference, you need to connect with the practitioners around you, which may be super scary when you are new in practice, or actually if you've been practicing for a few years and never had any contact with anyone, then I think it might even be more scary. So the best thing is just to start. Be humble. When you pick up the phone or send a message, be humble and interested in what the other person can do for this patient, and be super clear what you can do. Use explanations that are simple to understand by other people. If you are uncertain about your explanation, check it with someone else to see if it sounds it's a good explanation, and just start and have the courage to pick up the phone and change it. That was one big thing. And also, of course, there's a lot of coincidences in life, and to say yes to the opportunities and dare to say yes and just jump into things. It's a very important thing to do, and we will talk about that in the next episode or some more. And the best thing is to be curious and ask people if you can get to see what they are doing. Does that sum up?
Definitely.
Yeah. Perfect. Let's have a little break, and we'll see you soon.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the great talk.